humanities class. So for my final, I chose music. I loved music. I started kind of young, actually, in about middle school, and then took off from there until it didn't work out. So, anywho, I chose music, and my person I'm interviewing is my band teacher from high school, Mr. Evangelista. You can call him Mr. E. Say hi, Mr. E.
Hey, how are you doing?
Very good, very good. So let's get started.
For me, to think of a musician, a lot of people say, because I think very analytically as a musician. Mm-hmm. I'm counting all day long. People said, you're crazy. But it's just part of me. Yeah. But I also think with intellect, also with my soul. Mm-hmm. Music is both rhythmic and soulful. Mm-hmm. That's, people said, well, musicians are a rare breed. It's a kooky breed. I said, well, we are. Yeah. That's what makes us special, you know?
Yeah, because we're utilizing both sides of our brain, right? Left side, counting the timing of the song, and we're reading the sequential note values in each measure. And then the right side of the brain, we're just trying to get a big picture of how the songs feel, how's it going to play out.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. All right, next question.
Let's see. For me, was my self-experience. My first music education came from my mom. Mm-hmm. She taught me about music and things. That's not a good way to say nothing.
You gotta start somewhere.
And the authority, I think the best way to learn, if you don't have natural abilities to go with a teacher, somebody who's good at teaching, and some people are good musicians, but they're not good teachers. I was fortunate to have really good teachers. They're good musicians and knew how to teach. And it makes a big difference. I've been some teachers that I was with them for a year and didn't really learn anything.
So it's like burn candle with both ends.
Yeah.
Play music and teach. So is it right to say lots of authority in the form of teachers?
At the beginning, I think there should be lots of authority.
Lots of authority.
But then later on, when the teacher kind of finds it, even like when I'm teaching right now, I'm really strict with them at the beginning. But when I see they're making progress and they're thinking for themselves and owning the music instead of me telling them how it goes, I switch with certain students. I give them more authority now to do a lot of stuff.
So it sounds like more authority mixed in with a little bit of natural insight, intuition. Yeah. Then logic, lots of logic.
Oh, lots of logic, yeah.
Choke logic, for sure.
I have this one boy that's playing French horn now in the 6th grade, and I believe he has perfect pitch. And French horn is not an easy instrument to play because you have to hear the notes before you play. And I see him practicing all the time, and he says, I said, what are you doing? He says, well, I'm practicing hearing it and then playing it. And that's unusual for a 6th grader to do that. Yeah.
Nice. That's kind of the same for me when I took band in 8th grade with Miss Farkovich and played the trombone. I was kind of more seeing it, hearing it, but I was kind of more seeing it with the pencil markings.
Yeah.
The French horn is better than Bieber. So experience, that builds up. It's kind of like a math equation where authority times 100 times authority times 100 plus intuition, maybe times less than that, maybe times 10, maybe. With logic times 1,000 equals authority. Equals experience. Yeah. So it's this big math equation that builds up to experience, but not math-wise. It's all a matter of just being committed, putting the time in, day out, brains in, brains out.
That's true.
And just kind of working both sides of the brain, but mostly the right side, just getting the big picture of the song in its entirety. Next question.
As a musician, let's see. The kind of books that I like to read are biographical or historical. And I always like to read about the musicians who were really famous and then
kind of died out.
Died not famous at all, like Mozart. There's a lot of books about Mozart's life, but I saw the movie way back on Amadeus, which is pretty much lines up to his real life, and he died in an unmarked grave with hundreds of other people, you know. And he was really a genius, and I like to read, let's see, what's that book I just read about some musician, let's see, somebody, I was just talking to somebody about it in Honolulu. It escapes me now, the name of the book. But it's interesting how this person became a musician, so his music would change the world.
Oh, nice.
But, of course, he died at an early age, too. But a lot of them do. Chopin died really early, and Chopin was ingenuitive with the type of music he played. His music was always considered parlor music, just to be played for friends. But he became famous. So he wrote a symphony, concerto, which is hardly played. It's difficult piece to play. And the books, like I said, most books I read are very historical. Most people don't read it.
Yeah.
But it inspires me to see what they went through. And maybe I liken myself to Beethoven, actually, and his life. We kind of are parallel. Of course, I'm not deaf, but Beethoven was deaf. How he was always wanted everything to be the best, you know, in everything he did. And when it wasn't, I heard when you read through the books, he had quite a temper. I have a temper, but I don't take it out on people.
You just take it out on yourself.
Yeah, that's all I have.
So it was more like a frustration of a perfectionist?
Yeah, I think so. And Beethoven was very perfect. If you look at his scores, everything was perfect.
It was down to a T. Nice. So you make sure everything was how you want to hear it over and over again from start to finish. Right on, right on. So your approach, your literary approach is biographical and historical to get a reflective approach?
Yeah, because when I perform, like let's say I'm going to perform maybe a Rachmaninoff piano concerto or something like that, I would study about that person, where he lived, the type of music that he produced, the other types of, because a lot of ways, so you can learn to play it in a certain way. If I can play something just by notes, I don't know I wouldn't know what it's all about till I read his life and read, and he, about Rachmaninoff, there's books that say when he played certain pieces, this is how he thought. He thought about in the dead of winter and walking in the dead of winter or something like that. So you can actually hear it in his music. So I like to play descriptively, not just by notes.
Yeah. So the reflective approach, you actually want to go a mental time machine in your head and just kind of go back in time, step in his shoes and just experience what he experienced. And then when you play, you perform with feel. Rather than, like objective, like, this note, this note, this note, this note, this note. But this was like, I know how I got this down to a lot. Let's emphasize more on feel. Let's have the audience feel what I feel, rather than just the analytical feel. No, I just feel like, that's the rhythm, that's the melody, tempo. But I don't very much feel. Let's bring more of the feel. But like feel gauge, blast it up.
Yeah, that's true.
Totally.
Like this weekend, I sang in 2 concerts
Mm-hmm.
as one of the soloists, and
Mhm.
we did the Misa Criolla by Argentinian composer Rivera.
Mm-hmm.
It's contemporary yet classical, and it's the parts of the Mass, but in Spanish.
Yeah.
And I was reading the instructions. I was just saying, sing it really sorrowfully. And the part that says, "Ten compasión de las," so it means show us your compassion.
Yeah.
When I finally read about how they wrote it, and when I sang it, it all the time just was bringing me to tears because of the emotion
The
coming
feel
out of it.
conveying out.
We did the performances here
Mhm.
at the Sheraton, Keho,
Nice.
and people came up after just crying because emotion,
Mhm.
once you put the emotion to something that happens, something just like magic,
Yeah.
you know. And people came up and said, they just can't stop crying. You know, first I said, was I that bad? I was like, you know.
I was like, oh man, you sounded so great. Dave couldn't stop crying. He was like, was I that bad? Really?
And
I was like, dang, I could have sworn I went through sound check. And I made sure that everything is done to T before we got ready for the show.
Oh, yeah.
I said, that bad, you're awesome. Just that magic thing of feeling, the audience getting to feel what you feel.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And it's just kind of like bringing them in like, let's start our musical adventure, come with me.
That's right. And you can tell when they're becoming part of you.
Yeah.
You can just feel it, you know. But
Mm-hmm.
some audiences are difficult, but
Yeah.
some audiences are pretty good.
Yeah. Can't please everybody.
Yeah.
They're like,
They haven't thrown any tomatoes up.
well, it's not throwing vegetation at you, right?
That's right.
They're like, I'm feeling this, I'm not feeling it. Like I was like, I'm not feeling this at all. I'm like, I'm feeling it a little bit, but I'm not really feeling it. Oh. At least you just give it 110%. That's the best you can do. Can't please everybody. You can try, but eventually it's not going to work.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, next question.
I do. Like here at this school year,
Mm-hmm.
they were actually going to scrub the music program, the band program.
You're going to follow Humanities.
Yeah, because there was no teacher, and what happened, the teacher we had before left at Thanksgiving and never came back. So I was already in North Carolina, and somebody said, you should come back to Hawaii. I said, well, you know, I kind of like it here. I was working at the college, and later on I found, you know, they kept calling and calling, so I said, well, then I asked, why do you want me to come back? They said, we don't have anybody. We have Miss Wong teaching ukulele and chorus, but nobody for band. So basically, I'm in a rebuilding structure. I have 96 graders and concert band just 11 students. So once the 6th graders come to 7 to 8, it's going to start. It's going to take about 2 or 3 years to rebuild the program, which I'm ready for the challenge. I like challenges.
Yeah.
You know?
Awesome. So it is important, just as important as like math.
Oh, yeah.
Social studies.
That's why I get really angry when teachers pull kids out of band or chorus or art to retake exams. And I had one that told the student, well, why don't you just take out of your elective because they're not as important as math.
Yeah, the whole
That doesn't sound right with me, you know.
the bias judging that
Yeah.
core is like first priority and elective is like the back of the line.
Because most of them teaching to test, which is, I don't think is right.
Yeah.
If you notice in a lot of schools, I don't know how many states right now are done away with the Common Core because it's not working.
Not working and it's not
Yeah.
applicable to the real world.
It was 20-some years ago, but now everything's so different, you know. And so I'm glad for those states. I wish our state would be one of those that would teaching the core, you know, the core
Core sector.
core subjects. Not focusing on